Morning, everybody. How's everybody doing this morning? All ready for NAS and S&P to kick ass today? Hopefully. Morning, Peter. Wow, what a day yesterday. Crazy reversal on the indices. Peloton lost 25%. Decided to stop manufacturing bikes because nobody wants to buy them anymore. Netflix dropped. Oh, terrible. The world's collapsing. And to cap it all off, this morning, the pound announced that we haven't been selling any stuff either. Doom and gloom across the board. So pound retail figures came out this morning, negative. Obviously a bit of a drop this morning. Not dramatic. A little bit of kick off. But morning, Diamond. Morning, John. So yeah, pound across the board just had a little blip this morning, but no, apart from the Swiss franc powering up. Ignore that, that's the Swiss franc. So yeah, it's had a little bit of a blip, but not a great deal. So no massive reaction to the news, but it's not good. You know, retail sales are down, inflation is up, poverty's getting worse. It's not looking good in the UK. Our Prime Minister keeps having parties all the time. Everyone wants to sack the Prime Minister now. Makes you want to go and live on a desert island, doesn't it? Anyway. So that was the main news this morning. Obviously, it's not dramatic. We've got Lagarde speaking this afternoon at 12:30. So maybe some fluctuations on the euro, depending on what is said there. We've got retail sales for the CAD and Yellen. We can ignore Yellen. But yeah, so retail sales for the CAD, which might have a bit of an impact. But again, weak day on news today. Nothing much going on there at all. Next week is the biggie, FOMC on Wednesday. Canadian rates. So yeah, Wednesday next week is the big one. New Zealand dollar CPI. There's all sorts of stuff going on next week. So, as I said, this week's been a bit of a week. So, earnings today. We just got Schlumberger. And obviously it all kicks off on Tuesday next week. So Tuesday, Wednesday next week onwards for everything is massive. And then on from there for the rest of this month. So this week's just been meh. Get these weeks, but you have to just get through them basically. So Dixie yesterday, we supported very, very nicely. So I drew the support in yesterday, which is where we've been bouncing off of, or where I was expecting to bounce off of. We pulled back into it beautifully, and then just yesterday we went nah. So yeah, good move yesterday on the Dixie. We were looking for that to hold basically out of this daily range. So this is the accumulation that we got stuck in. We popped back down to support and then popped back up into that range. And I said yesterday or the day before, you know, we're looking for support and a bounce back into this area just to get that new high put in at some point in the next few weeks. So not going to happen until next week. And obviously next week is where all the catalysts are. So yeah, looking good for the US dollar, hopefully. Across the board. So S&P and NAS yesterday, big drop on the daily. So yeah, we had this obviously. Yesterday was looking absolutely beautiful, and into New York. We were like, yeah, bullish engulfing, looking great. I took some profit off on some positions yesterday, banked 6% odd. And then all hell broke loose yesterday afternoon, and it came down dramatically. Obviously, same story on the NAS. So this is now 4 down days on the trot. So support didn't hold. This is what we were looking to hold, support here. and the 200 moving average, and this massive area where the rally started to make the new highs, this buy zone here, slammed through it. So obviously, when you look at these areas, when they get breached, it doesn't mean that's the end. A lot of the time when we get these breached, you can see let's just look at another chart on a lower time frame so we can see them. A lot of the time when they get breached like this, here's a perfect example. God, that was a good chart to pick, wasn't it? So this area here, we tap into them, we reject them, we breach them, and the breach is not necessarily the end. That's when they start to come on board. So so I'm not massively worried, especially after a 4 down day push like we've had on the NAS. Go back in history and look for 4 down day pushes. You generally tend to find a bull day comes back. So we've got really nice move down today, and we're starting a push back up again. So what I'm doing, as you can see, I've gone in really aggressive with an aggressive position this morning and a stop on it. So I will get stopped out on it if we pull back. But I've gone in aggressive, brought the average down because I want to get out of a fair bit of this today. It's gone too far and it's slightly worrying. But, go back historically. We tend to push down. I mean, even here, look, go back to COVID times. Oh, where am I? COVID, where are you? There you are. We do hold the 200. When we break through it, it tends to have a big drop. But this is COVID. This is a little bit of an exception. If you go back a bit further in time and look at areas where we break the 200, this is kind of what we did yesterday. Yeah. And then we had another down day, and then we started the rally back up. Yeah. So here's a good example of a 4 down day pop. Yeah. So this is kind of where we are at the moment. When we're down below the 72, the market is not very tolerant of more selling, especially down below the 200. There is very low tolerance for selling down there because everything in the market is so cheap. You start a buying frenzy most of the time. The only fly in the ointment with the timing of this particular drop is we are ahead of earnings next week and the week after. So the drop has happened before earnings. Therefore, if we do get negative earnings coming out, like we've seen with Netflix, Peloton, etc., that could well have more down day pushes. But at some point, obviously, that will end, and then we'll get that rally back up again. So it's just a very bad timing pullback this at the moment. But you have to deal with what you've got. So I'm in aggressive on both of these at the moment with stops down here, just looking to get some decent lot sizing on, and if we can get 3/4 of an ADR, that will give me a nice bit to bank to do a bit more drawdown up the top here, just to reduce, just in case, because the S&P hasn't got to the 200 yet. The S&P is lagging the NAS. Doesn't mean it's going to get to the 200. Didn't get there, did it? Doesn't have to get to the 200 at all. 200 means nothing. It's just a measurement of what's happened in the past. It's got nothing to do with the future. But obviously, this is just an indication of when we get down here, it's just saying, right, we're really knackered. Buying tends to start. So yeah, big moves on those. So we'll see what today holds. London started near again, mediocre. Not particularly bullish, not particularly bearish. A little bit more bullish than bearish, which is good. But yeah, no real flurry. And today, this is what we've got to get through. So remember I said yesterday, every time we get a big, strong down day with big, strong price action, it leaves these big areas where sellers have stepped in to get through. So today, we've got to crack this. Really, we need to get above here, obviously, to put bullish engulfing in, which is 200% ADR. Don't think there's anything today that's going to move 200% ADR. You never know, but if we can get some decent movement into it and break above these lows from Wednesday, that will give the market a bit of juice. And that will be the pullback potential on the move down. Yeah, so if we get back up to there, one or two things is going to happen. We don't know which, but if we can get back up to this resistance, that's when we will see what happens from there. Right, so let's have a look at where we are today with FX pairs. Did I miss anything? Don't know. Depends when you got here. Looks like you have got a demand zone candle support. Yeah, we'll see what happens today. Need some buying to come in, obviously. So, fall seems disproportional to the Peloton and Netflix news. Netflix wasn't even that bad. No, I know this is the thing. It is a big drop. When you look at the NAS, I don't want to go on about the indices too much because we need to look at the FX pairs. But when you look at the Nasdaq yesterday, the Nasdaq yesterday was virtually all green. Yeah. Apart from a few big losers, Peloton, obviously. And there were a few decent sized losers in there, but overall, the index didn't perform badly. So those two brought it down a lot, but that's because there was so much selling in them. Morning, Chris. It doesn't take much to move it down. If you get a couple of stocks drop by 2 or 3% or 4%, 5%, you'll have a rotational day, or it will do sort of that, and you'll close with a down day. When you get something that drops, we had an overall drop of around about 30% across two stocks. That's a lot, and it's the volume of selling. It's a case of they didn't do an awful lot on everything else, but they did a hell of a lot on those, and that's why you get those massive drops. Whether or not that continues will be critical today to the index, obviously. It's whether or not Peloton can survive down here. It's going to drop out of the NAS. It's below its IPO price, so it's it's stuffed. Peloton has dropped below its IPO. Yeah, so it initially floated, and obviously skyrocketed. It's now below its IPO. So it's a difficult place for people to sell, because if they bought at the initial offering, they've got to take a loss on it, and they probably won't want to do that. So, it's a very weird time at the moment. So anyway, let's talk FX. S&P 500 to fill the gap. It's filled the gap. Gap's done. Gap was done on the open. There is no gap. Right. But have you looked at the monthly chart for those two? Yeah. Doesn't matter. There's no point in looking at the monthly chart for anything. What's happened in the past has got zero impact on what's going to happen today in the future. Yeah. This is why most indicators don't work, because they all lag price. The RSI is telling me what's happened. Charts are telling me what's happened. Moving averages tell me what's happened. Doesn't matter, does it? Whether it was down yesterday or up yesterday, or up next month, or down last month or up last month, has got nothing to do with what's going to happen next month. Things change, don't they? But anyway, carry on. Aussie dollar Swiss. So ADRs today so far, quite a lot of movement, as you can see. So we'll run through these. The Euro Swissy that I've got on has pushed down again today. So I'm still holding on to that one. It's the only FX pair that I've got on at the moment. That one hasn't gone anywhere near ADR levels at the moment. So, but yeah, Euro Swiss, nice hit down on the ADR there. So look at all the Swissies quickly. CAD Swiss down, Euro Swiss down, pound Swiss down. So they're all down. So the Swiss franc has had a really good time in the Asian session. So anything Swissy hitting to the downside, remember I say about the Swissy always, the Swissy will power up and pull back and then just go kind of sideways. So at the moment we've just got to power up on the Swissy. So I always like to short stuff against the Swissy, and most of these obviously ADRs today are hitting to the downside on the Swissies. So the pounds, actually it's only the pound Swiss and the New Zealand Swiss that have hit. Oh, and the Aussie that have hit. So there's no directional bias on these at the moment. If you look at them on higher time frame, it's a lovely A-shaped recovery we've just had on. Absolute collapse on this one. But we are coming down to potential support. So it is a nice looking potential long there, but not extended on the hourly. And not extended on the 4 hourly. So at the moment, this is just chop. So potentially where we are here is a nice area to buy from, because obviously we're at the bottom of a range. So, but I don't like buying against the Swissy as well. So I'd rather sell against the Swissy, because when the Swissy powers up, it's a big move. And obviously we've just had this big strong one. So I would expect to pull back and drop from that. So it is still a good buy, very short term though. So wait for a reverse alert if you're going to take this one. Support wise, you want to be looking sort of resistance wise, you want to be looking around here. So you see there's not an awful lot of room there at the moment. We've had solid selling, so it's going to be very difficult to get into that one. But if it does go, that's where we would expect it to pull back up to. Aussie dollar yen. Obviously that one's already come off of ADR this morning. So we had the reverse alert down there just under the 100 level, and we had the retest. Hasn't really gone far yet, so you're 30 odd pips in on that one. If you're awake in Asia, obviously you could have taken that, or if you had the EA could have taken that for you, but not really gone anywhere yet. Yen, again, I'm looking to short everything against the yen at the moment. The US dollar is powering up, so I would expect the yen to start to get a little bit of power coming through. There was a lot of announcements from Japan yesterday on plans moving forward economically as well. So they've put together a very big economic forecast in that in the WEF meetings which are going on at the moment. You see on the calendar, we've got these WEF annual meetings going on at the moment in that place, Dawn. Davos, was it? I was getting confused with that. Davos and Dawn from Game of Thrones. But so they're meeting in Sir Davos, and Japan laid out some really good fundamental plans for the future to get out of COVID, to re-energize their economy, to be more green. So it's obviously a lot of talk, but they have got solid plans in place and a roadmap moving forward to recover out of COVID, which is good. So they've announced that they've got something in place which will do nothing but bolster the yen. So I would be looking for the yen on the COT report over the next few weeks to potentially start to reduce down and potentially start to go green at some point in the next month. So we'll see what happens with it. But I'm more bullish on the yen now, so I'd be looking for shorts on everything against the yen. But obviously that doesn't mean we're not going to get pullbacks. We are, of course we are. We're going to get pullbacks. So there's nothing wrong with taking these ADRs. It's just I prefer to take them in the opposite direction at the moment. Euro odd, always looking to short it. So that's a good looking entry there. Yeah, look at that one. So levels on this one. Obviously, we've got this double top area up here. We've got big sell pressure round about there. So, and obviously we've got potential here to do a pullback. If we are going to push higher euro odd, we've got potential pullback and push. And obviously we've hit ADR high today. So looks like a really nice entry, that one. M5 just about to give you a reversal alert. So yeah, that's a nice one. Look for an entry on that. Euro odd, short. Euro pound. Just had a reverse alert at 150 ADR on that one. That's really nicely extended, isn't it? Obviously, pound. Yeah, pound's a difficult one at the minute because what's going on with Boris? Good old Boris. Again, that's a really nice looking entry there. So we just had the reversal alert on it. So there's another nice one to take there. Potential retest and drop. It has already retested, but I don't like these retests when they're this quick. So when we've had the reversal alert, and I always leave a minimum of one candle between my retests. When we retest that quick, I don't like them as much as when we get that sort of push up and drop, because that gives you a really nice M pattern formation, which is a lot stronger usually. But saying that, it has retested already. We are up at 175 ADR, 150 ADR. So we are very, very extended on this one. So that looks really nice for a short as well. Any euros which hit to the upside, lovely short opportunities. Love them. And look at the speed of that movement. Going to get a pullback on that. Well, it's pulling back now, isn't it? So looks good for a short. Euro pound. Euro New Zealand. Same thing. 150 ADR. This is New Zealand dollar weakness. So the Asian session and the New York session, the London session at the moment are starting to look bearish on it. So again, Euro New Zealand, very nicely extended. Massive extended on the 5-minute, 15-minute extended and embedded. Pushed up to 175 nearly. So again, M5 entry on that one, Euro New Zealand short. I've obviously got my Euro Swiss short and I've got the Euro CAD, Euro odd set up as well. So I wouldn't take this one as well, but take one or the other, Euro odd, Euro New Zealand short. This is probably better because it's more extended. Targets on the way down, plenty of them. But obviously watch the bounce at this area. So if we can push back down to yesterday's high on this today, got accumulation area there, which caused this move. So we've got to crack through that. So another area to watch there. But yeah, looks really, really nice. Euro New Zealand. Pound odd. That's already done, already played out. Missed it. Pound Swiss. Again, massive extension. I don't want to be longing against the Swissy. When the Swissy goes, and it can go for days on end. The Swiss franc can run for days, so I'd much rather sit there and be short on it like I am with the Euro Swiss. So I've got that one on short at the moment. I'm going to hold that. I'm going to hit TP on that actually. TP's there. 6 pips away. I still haven't got a lot on it because they're only tiny little positions. This is obviously part of a bigger position. This is just the leftovers of all this lot that I was selling. So I've banked 90% of the trade already. This is just the hangover of it, if you like. So pound Swiss, pound New Zealand. Just tapped into ADR highs on that one. Again, pound odd or pound New Zealand, one or the other. These aren't that extended at the moment. I don't like this Asian consolidation very much either. Again, there's a setting in the reversal alerts indicator and the EA, in the EA for size of reversal alert, which is this box and the size of it. And you can set a maximum for this. You get these massive long rectangles like this. It just shows you that the price has gone into a consolidation or an accumulation. When it breaks down, quite often you'll find it's a false breakout. So when they're really long like this, I don't like them. So the fact that this has gone up and sat and accumulated for that amount of time up there, I wouldn't be particularly interested in the short in that one. New Zealand dollar Swiss. New Zealand dollar Swiss, again, much rather take shorts on anything against the Swiss franc, and this is to the downside, but saying that it's massively extended. Higher time frame wise, where are we? Oh, miles away, look. potential V-shape. When you see moves this fast and this hard, you're potentially setting up for a V-shaped recovery. So that looks really nice. But obviously you want to wait for some strength or basically wait for the Swiss franc to stop pushing. Where are we headed with this? We're still in this. We're still in this area here where we broke out. So this is accumulation here. This was the start of the move up. This is our first retest of this area. Well, it's not actually. No, it's not. It's the fourth retest and drop. You're going to counter trend if you're taking this long. But it's not in a bad spot. If you look at where we've got to come down to here. There's a few levels there. It's difficult to pick a spot really on this one, but there's a few levels there potentially at 225 ADR. Failing that, obviously, we'll be coming down and finding support somewhere around here. So it's not in a bad spot, but you need to, again, wait for some strength to come through. You need to get an alert on that, a reversal alert on that, and you've got loads of upside up to there, 38 pips. It's a 39 ADR pair, so pretty much an ADR move to the upside on that if that breaks back up to the upside. So looking good. New Zealand dollar Swiss for a long. It is going to be counter trends though. We're in a pretty strong downtrend at the moment. So look for pullbacks and don't stay in it for too long. New Zealand dollar yen longs, beautiful triple bottom on the 4 hour. Look at that. There's rejection if ever I saw it. Again, I like everything short against the yen at the moment, just from what I think is going to happen perspective. But for now, pull back. So that's a nice little area down there. So a few of these New Zealands, we've had some weak New Zealand as well. So a few of these are looking pretty good for longs. But again, long consolidation. We pushed down pretty hard and haven't gone anywhere. We're just accumulating. And quite often after a push and accumulation, you get a second leg. Don't always. Obviously, you can just do that. But an accumulation after a leg down quite often will be a drop. So see what happens with that. When you get a reversal alert on it, you kind of want to maybe keep a tight stop on this one in case it goes, because it might drop fairly hard. But it's not particularly extended, that one either. But loads and loads and loads of targets to the upside. Look, all these areas up here where we've just shot straight through. And it's been very inefficient the way that it's traded coming down. So these areas will all be areas they'll want to push back up to and test again. So lots of good levels up there as well. So lots of ADR opportunities today for scalping on low time frames. So I'm just looking at. Just want to check the news quickly. Just wanted to see if there's any New Zealand dollar news overnight. Or any other news? Migration flows back into positive territory for New Zealand. No, it's fine. Just checking there wasn't anything said overnight that's caused a weak New Zealand dollar here. Right, so RSIs. Plenty of opportunities on RSI extensions now. We've got some decent movement starting to come in. Hourly's not quite as good, so a lot of this movement is strong on the 4 hour, but not so much on the hourly. So we'll whiz through all of these as well. Look for setups on these. Let's start in reverse order today. Let's do something a little bit different. US dollar yen. Kind of missed this one. This was yesterday. This was this morning, actually. This is an Asian move. So 72 bounce on this one down here. Just about got extended. The trade on this one, as you can see, I took it last week, was when we got extended on the 4 hour first time. Down here. So I took that bounce there. We came back up and we've dropped back down. We're just now retesting again. Didn't quite get extended enough for me to get interested in this one, but lower time frame, obviously you've kind of missed it. If you didn't get in Asia there, you never got the retest, so it's kind of gone. But on the hourly chart, US dollar obviously we're bullish on. Well, I'm bullish on. We just had the reversal out on the hourly, so if you wanted to take this on a higher time frame and hold it a bit longer, you've just had a reversal out on there, and it's just come out of extension there as well. So very nice pullback on that move down. Very, very, very deep pullback. So it may well come down and want to try and double bottom. Don't know, have to see. But at the moment, we've got good strength coming through. So that looks like a fairly nice one, but very, very weak. Better opportunities out there, I think, at the moment on some of these, obviously, as you can see. So let's go up to the New Zealand dollar yen on the 4 hour. So we just looked at this one. ADR hit 3 wicks to the downside, looking really, really nice. Lovely big propulsion candles down. Whenever we get big propulsion candles down, we get that pullback at some point. Yeah. Sometimes V-shaped recovery out of it. Really, really big push. It's going to recover back up to there at some point. So this is the area potentially which is going to act as the next resistance if the continuation move is going to carry on back down to these lows. Big gaps here, loads of sellers in them. So be a bit careful with it, but massive extension down to the 20s. Anytime we get 75.25 is my sort of golden spot. So euro yen and New Zealand dollar yen look really, really nice. The only thing I don't like about these obviously is they're extended to the downside, and I'm expecting some yen strength to come through. So it all depends when that kicks off. The likelihood is it's probably going to be more towards the middle of next week when we get FOMC. So plenty of time to get back up to there. So looks good. So again, drop down lower time frames, M15 reversal. Just wait for that to get in for longs on it. I've got that one as well. Right, New Zealand dollar yen, very nicely extended. New Zealand dollar CAD, sorry, that's New Zealand dollar Swiss next. Just about, that's 150 ADR and just about extended now on the 4 hour. So again, big, strong down move, miles away from the 24. So again, another way you can use moving averages is to measure how extended the move is and how strong that move is. Moving averages, regardless of which time frame you look at, which moving averages you use, moving average will always act as an elastic band and a magnet to pull price back in one shape or another. So you will either get a pullback to the moving average, or you will get a consolidation and the moving average will come down on top of it. Either way, the two will obviously meet at some point. So the further you get extended away from your moving averages, the more likely the snapback is to happen or the consolidation to start. And either way, we can make money in consolidations and we can make money in mean reversion. So when you get really, really extended away like this, it's a good opportunity for a pullback. So there, for example, 135 pips away. At the moment, we're sitting roughly 100 away. It's only a tiny little ADR on this one, but we've hit 150 ADR today, extended on the 4 hour, massively embedded, well, not embedded, but extended massively on the hourly as well. So big, big, big drop. Would look for a V-shaped recovery on that, on the move of that strength. So yeah, everybody that's selling there is going to get out of those positions soon, and they're going to start buying it up. But the danger is support on this one. So again, target, don't be too greedy. Just get the trade, get out, be done with it. New Zealand dollar CAD 4 hour, big extension. So I drew this area in. Let's go back to the daily, zoom out, because this is where we've got to go. There is support and resistance in here. You can't see it because the chart is so far out, but there's really good support resistance zones in here, many of them. and every time we've got down to this area, we've either elastic banded back out of it, or we've consolidated and accumulated in it. So this is an area of interest where we should see some buying start to pop in, because everybody's going to get down to here and think probably going to get some buying, so they will start to buy and it will all obviously cascade. So 4 hourly, we are entering that zone at the moment. We're really nicely extended. We've had this big strong push. We're getting really nicely extended away from the moving averages, so looking all good. Hourly, we've just got extended as well. Been pretty orderly this move though over the last few weeks. We haven't had any pullbacks much on this to speak of, enough to get out of, but if you got in like that, you wouldn't have got out. So it's had a big long move with no real strong pullbacks, so definitely overdue. So that looks good as well. New Zealand dollar CAD on the 4 hour, extended to 30 level, or below that now, almost down to 25. If this continues to push down today, it'd be a lovely entry as well, but obviously you can pick any of these really. Pound yen, again, beautiful rejection down here. So all these yens where we've got extended, they are all starting to play out now. Lovely wicks to the downside, straight off of the support level that I drew in here, and rejecting nicely. Not so much of a big movement there. So somewhere up to there would be target for me on that. If we can pull back down further, we're going to come down to this support, which is going to coincide with the 72 moving average, all down in this area as well. So really nice levels below if we do continue to push down to get that propulsion move back up again. So again, pound yen looking really good, 4 hour for longs. Euro yen. Hate longing the euro. It's already played out, which is good, because that means I don't have to worry about it. So this one's already gone. So we had a lovely W put in and reversal, but I always short the euro at the moment, so not one that I would look to take long myself. But from a 4 hour perspective, obviously the trade really was down here, so it started. Just be careful, obviously. Look how orderly the market structure is on this one. It's so just does textbook moves from support resistance levels, so just be very careful of that level there. We're just coming up into it now. Good area to sell from actually, and potentially if we get yen strength, we're just going to get embedded down there. So not one I'd look to take long, and kind of already missed that one. Needed to jump on that in Asia again. Euro Swiss extended big style. I'm still on it. I'm just going to quickly cover these as well while I'm on it. So just locked some profit in on those, just in case we get a reversal alert on it. But likelihood is we're heading down here. Whether we can get down here in one flurry, difficult. See, we might get an ADR hit on it today. We need some continuation strength on the Swissy. Lagarde is speaking later as well, so she might come out and say something which again devalues the euro. Would be nice. But yeah, so up to you. I just, you can long the euro, you can long it, but just be aware the pullbacks on the euro quite often are just tiny. That's not too bad, that one, but look at most of the pullbacks on the euro. You literally have a 4-8 hour window to make profit, and then it comes down again, excluding obviously this big push, which was the Swiss franc being devalued. So you can ignore that one. So yeah, shorts still on that one. Wouldn't want to be taking longs on it. Swiss yen, same thing. Missed this one really. Just about got extended. 4 hour. We've just had an hourly alert. We had a 15-minute alert back in Asia. So again, these ones we kind of missed because they're Asia, which you would expect because obviously it's the yen pairs. Beautiful liquidity run. So got this support, small accumulation and push, acted as support to bounce off for that move, came back, retested it, wasn't interested, come back, retested it, taken that liquidity and running. So again, this is a quite tricky one, the Swiss yen. Don't really trade this very much, Swiss yen, because obviously yen will strengthen up dramatically and then weaken dramatically. Swiss does the same thing. So you're on a pair here which basically does both. So can be quite erratic. And if you get one strengthening at the same time as the other one weakens, you get these big strong squeezes. So it's a tricky one. It's a bit like the US dollar yen. It's a little bit of a tricky one to trade. But that's a textbook liquidity run. But as I say, missed it. You're either in it and you've been in it, or you're not, because that all happened during Asia. Aussie dollar, New Zealand dollar. Is anybody in this one? We've been looking at this one as a breakout, obviously. So we're up here and extended. We've got this big, strong area here, which we just smashed through. This sell area, basically, is where we got stuck. So if I zoom out, we can see what we're doing. So where we started this big move down, this is where we came back up, and the sellers from this move, this is when we remember the other day we were talking about how different types of people enter the market. The investors are entering the market looking for multi-week, multi-month moves, and then we've got people like us which are getting in and out within a week or so, and other people getting out intraday. So when these big moves start, you get the intraday people leaving, the investors pushing, the intraday people leaving, the investors pushing, intraday leave, push, and this is where the profit takes, and why we get the waves in the market. It's the profit takes on the intraday moves, and then the long-term investors adding to their shorts. This is an area where we were expecting potentially for the shorts to get added to, and obviously what we got was, every time we got anywhere near it, rejection, multiple times, and it's just suddenly failed. So this was off the back of the Australian dollar news, obviously we had coming in yesterday morning, which was the unemployment figures. So this one, as I said, if we're going to break this level, I was looking for pullback and long on it. So I don't know if anybody got into it. We haven't had the pullback. Very, very nicely extended, obviously, at the minute. So potentially good looking short. But the fact that we've broken through here, I would say we're probably looking for a pullback and push. So either way, you can get into this one, because you can take this as a mean reversion. Really nicely extended. Look for it to pull back into this area, which we normally fade into, and then bounce back out of there. So looks good, but obviously from a mean reversion perspective, we are very nicely extended up there. But we could get extended and embed. Either way, the Aussie and the New Zealand is quite a nice pair to trade. It's very small ADR, but because obviously they're trade partners and they're next door to each other, you get decent chop, and chop is easy to trade because you can get in and out of it lots and lots and lots. So if you were shorting it, you always have your little exits, and if you're long in it, you have your little pushes. This is a bigger than usual push, so we will get a bigger than usual correction on it at some point. So pretty good. Aussie, New Zealand, again, no direction on it. Aussie and New Zealand are both short on the futures markets for open interest, so pick a direction on it really, but extended out nicely on the 4 hour, so nice potential short at some point. Again, dropping down to lower time frames, waiting for reversal alerts. At the moment, you're not going to get one for ages because it's been pushing so hard, but lower time frame, potentially looking for a short on it. Aussie yen is the final one. That one's extended as well to the downside. Good rejection down here. We're sitting here at the moment where we've had all this selling pressure coming in, tapping back into that. Again, lovely rejection wicks, nice doji. Opened weak this morning so far, but reversal alert, you haven't had it yet. So first reversal alert on this one could potentially be the start of the move. But again, I'd much rather be selling it than buying it at the moment. So that's the 4 hours. So loads of stuff extended on the 4 hours at the minute, which is all good. And the hourlies, it's the same pairs basically on the hourlies. Obviously, as you would expect, when we get extended on the 4 hour, we've normally got extended on the hourly first. Diamond Euro New Zealand maybe making a run for the peak formation high from September. Can you just go back a bit more on that? Yeah. So heading back to this high here, this accumulation, we're going to get stuck in here. Yeah, this is a nice area of balance where Euro and New Zealand were more than happy to trade for months and months and months. We were very happy keeping our price there. And then we decided to try and get lower and rejected the lows. We weren't interested in going down below this level. Again, we accumulated and said nope. Then we got back up into here and basically Euro shot down. So this is first time coming back up to retest this level. And again, look where the peak is, bang in the middle of the range. So 200 ADR, 225. If we get up to there on Euro New Zealand, it will be lovely opportunity for shorting. And at some point, you're going to get a decent pullback on that one. But this is the breakout. So this is the one we've been waiting for such a long time to give us some kind of directional bias. So we had this control candle where we've been stuck in the range for ages. Broke out to the upside. Rejected. Came again back down to the bottom of the range. All these wicks at the top weren't interested. We tried to break out again. And finally, we've got through. So unless Monday or today, unless they do a crazy move like that, this one potentially is looking bullish. But again, Euro, I cannot long the Euro. Always looking for opportunities to short it. So again, not got extended and not likely to. But you see, every time we get any indication of getting highs, I'm shorting that thing. So this is a lovely, lovely, lovely extension. Nobody's taken profit on this move. Yeah, we're 12 hours now into a solid push, not one profit take. So at some point, this is coming down, and more than likely to retest. So good for shorts. So looking at that on the hourly, obviously, on the hourly dash, extended. The more extended it gets, the better. And the Euro New Zealand, obviously, on ADR, we're now up to 175. Same with New Zealand dollar Swiss. So we've got a weak New Zealand dollar, haven't we, as well, which is helping this on. Look at that on the hourly. One lone soldier to the downside. So A-shaped recovery, not off the cards, is it? We see it happen all the time. Look at this move in London. London and New York continuation. That's all we need. This is the high, midday London, mid-session London. London comes down, makes new lows. New York does a continuation. It's not unusual. We can get there. We'll see. Stuck in NU, Peter says. It broke out of its bear flag earlier. I'm hoping it will stall and reverse at support. New Zealand dollar, US dollar. Yeah. So New Zealand dollar, US dollar, you got this support down here. So somewhere around here, potentially. Which is roughly ADR. Is your sort of mid-term support. I see it's long-term support. Yeah, I mean this is a key level. Obviously, this is where we bounced last time from here. So yeah, this is a key area you're getting to now. But it's looking like a nice potential trend, isn't it? US dollar strength. I've been saying it for weeks. So everything against US dollar is a sell. Everything US dollar is a buy. So you need to get, if we get the bounce off here, if you're in it and you're stuck and you need to get out, you need to get aggressive down here. And when you get some bullish price action, but you got this area here of potential resistance, and then you got this area here as well, which could potentially be resistance again, assuming that we're going to get the US dollar power up, which looks like we are based on the index at the moment. So, yeah, that's all I can really do on that one. That's the way I read it. Will also be one ADR, yeah, exactly. So potentially that's a lovely spot if we can get down there. Need to get down there, obviously. Right. So Euro Swiss. I've just got out of one of my positions on Euro Swiss. Why have I only got out of one? I'm pretty sure I put. Oh, it's TP. I just hit TP. There you go. I was like, hang on a minute. I'm sure I just covered that. Why have I got out? So I've just TP'd on it. So let's trail this one on the 15-minute. I put 110 on it. Whoops. So I'm just getting out of Euro Swiss today completely. Flat. Right, where was I? Sorry, getting sidetracked. Yeah, so we were looking at the hourlies, weren't we? So again, these, like I said, they're pretty similar to the 4 hours. So New Zealand dollar, US dollar, extended. We've just looked at this one potentially for a bounce down there somewhere. Look at the historical hits on this one and what you get. That was the best move you've had where we had an up day. So you're kind of looking for an up day on this at the moment. We had a down day yesterday. We're at the moment we're in a down day. We're painting red at the minute, but that could change red to green. So try and get in and get your average within roughly an ADR. So I always say, I keep going on about it. If you can get your average within an ADR, you need one up day. One up day at least gets you out at break even. So if you really don't like the look of the trade anymore, one ADR will escape you. And look at the down days. An ADR push to the upside in there. 3 down days on the trot, an ADR push. 2 down days on the trot now. We need one ADR push. One ADR push and we're done. Yeah. You get the odd massive squeeze, which is nothing you can do about that type of movement. We go into accumulation. But that's really all you can plan to do. So when you're doing aggressive drawdown control, if you're in a position where you've been stuck in a squeeze, and you start doing aggressive drawdown control, calculate what your aggressive drawdown control has got to be to get yourself within an ADR, or an ADR and a half. So expect a couple of up days, and that will escape you as well. A couple of up days. So so let's say for example you'd got into a position here, and you got stuck the wrong side of it, and we had a multi-week squeeze. So you a couple of weeks into the trade, you get down to here. Calculate, obviously your average is going to be, because you will have been scaling in, your average is not going to be massively far away, but it's not uncommon to be somewhere between 150 to 200 ADR away. So calculate what the aggressive drawdown control is going to be to get that ADR, that average back. That's how you get out of them with the aggressive drawdown control. Again, always worth watching that part of the bootcamp again, because it's the most important part and the bit that everybody struggles to get, because it is tricky, But yeah, so New Zealand dollar on the hourly, we are extended. So again, when you get extended and you've seen this sort of move, and this is what I say in the bootcamp as well. When you've had this strength of move, right, and you haven't had a profit take off of it, yeah, there's a profit take coming. Even if this continues down and we get embedded down here for the entire day, the entire London session, the start of the New York session, the further it gets, the better. And the more aggressive I would be. Because when you get that bullish engulfing or that reversal alert on M5, that is usually the one. Because it's that, remember that elastic band analogy? The further it's stretched, the further it's going to ping back. And this is why we see V-shaped recoveries forming in the market. The more exhausted it is, and the more these guys have been holding on to their sell positions, the faster they're going to get out of their sell positions by hitting the buy button. And the faster that move starts, the more people will buy it because they see it going up. And it becomes that self-fulfilling prophecy. So getting down to a good point to cut a long story short. So New Zealand dollar, US dollar. New Zealand dollar, yen. Same thing, New Zealand dollar, very, very weak. Obviously, all these New Zealand dollars, very, 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 very weak. Against the Swissy dramatically as well. So again, there's nothing fundamental. I can't see anything fundamental for this. This is what I was looking at the news a minute ago. Trying to find something fundamental for the New Zealand dollar to be collapsing. There isn't. This is just a dump in the market. So when there's no, that's the only news there is migration flows back into positive territory. That's not a bad thing. So there's not any negative news. So this is just a dump. And obviously after a dump, we get a profit take. Yeah. So it's a big dump. Get ready for that and get in. So New Zealand dollar yen, really nicely extended. New Zealand dollar Swiss, New Zealand dollar CAD. These are all very, very, very tired. So if you're trading hourly RSI extensions, we use M5 for entries. So there's your entry there. New Zealand dollar CAD is in an area of interest that I've drawn on the chart from previous. Oh yeah, that's that one we looked at on the 4 hour. Obviously, because it's extended on the 4 hour as well, isn't it? So yeah, looks good. New Zealand dollar CAD. But again, these are all the same, aren't they? So New Zealand dollar CAD, New Zealand Swiss, yen and US dollar. Pound yen. Lovely rejection down at this level. Again, pound yen on the 4 hour. We are extended. Beautiful wicks to the downside. Lovely stop hunt after stop hunt after stop hunt. Yeah, stop there. Little bit lower. Little bit lower. So if you got into this long, any time from Wednesday, you're out. You've been stopped out. Yeah. So H1 extended, M5 had the reverse alert, literally just retested 5 minutes ago. Looking great for a long. Pound yen. But again, the only thing I don't like about this one, as I said, is I don't like these big long consolidations after pushes, because you quite often get that second leg. But if you get the second leg, it doesn't matter, does it? Because it's shot. And if you get another leg down, it's going to be doubly shot, which means it's going to spring back doubly fast. So it doesn't matter either way. Diamond, I have a lovely tool I use for that, basically dragging the break-even line around to see the ADR distance of trade value. Yeah, that's so. Yeah, there's share that tool if you can in the Telegram group. If it's a freebie or if it's a paid one, send me a link and I'll link it out. Any tools, paid or free, which help with position trading, I'm always interested in looking at. Love the elastic band analogy. Chris says, yeah. It's something that was taught to me. Again, I teach it in the Boocamp, the elastic band theory. It literally is, the more you stretch, if you've got an elastic, just think about an elastic band. I'll cover it quickly now, but go and watch the Boocamp. If you've got an elastic band line on a table like that, limp, it doesn't do anything. If you stretch that elastic band out further and let go of it, it'll snap back to where it was. If you stretch that elastic band out all the way there and let go of it, it's going to fly off the table. Yeah. The more we get extended, yeah, the bigger that move is. Because the more people have done that, the more they will all need to do that. But as they do that, they will encourage more people to do that. Yeah. As we see bullish price action forming, we go long. Yeah. So we join the people that have shorted it, exiting their positions. It's just the bigger it stretches, the better. You know, it's like everybody says, no, as it's pushing down, why do you constantly buy it when it's pushing down and it's obvious it's moving down so hard? Because when you know what these guys have got to do next, that is where you start to make your money. Yeah, everybody's looking at what's happened in the past. I'm predicting what's going to happen in the future, based on historical price movement. That's the difference, and this is where the elastic band theory was taught to me by somebody, and it's stuck in my head. You know, and when you're new at trading and you're trying to understand market movement and how it all works, analogies like that are what sticks with you. I mean, if you take one thing away, take that. because it's the easiest way to learn. And the sheep thing we covered yesterday, didn't we, with the cows? When the cows lie down, it means it's going to rain in the UK, when actually it's just cows getting tired. But it's that herd mentality. One cow sits down, the rest of them look at him and go, that's a good idea, and they all sit down. Yeah, somebody starts to buy, we all look at that and go, it's going up, we'll all buy. It's herd mentality. That's just what happens in the market. Sheep, we're all sheep. And that's not just us. Banks, institutions, they're all sheep too. The banks and institutions see things happening and they all do the same thing. They analyse the markets in the same way. They scorecard the futures markets and the options in the same way. So it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. When everybody says it's going to happen and does it, it does it. And that's all we're playing off, really, with these mean reversion trades. Right, pound Swiss. Off on a tangent. Swissy very strong. So just be very careful with this one. When the Swissy goes, the Swissy goes. And you can see the Swissy is going at the moment across the board. So with the Swiss francs, the Swiss francs are notorious for V-shaped recovery moves. Yeah. That one took a few days, but it's notorious for it. It's what it does all the time. This is a big one, a real big one. So I would expect as equal move. Again, elastic band, ping, that's stretched to the max, isn't it? This one hasn't quite got there. Aussie Swiss, but pound Swiss has. And we've also got a weak pound at the moment. As you can see, we're coming down. We had a beautiful propulsion move out, a reversal alert up there. Retested that propulsion move and dropped. Biggest drop we've had for a while on this one. So again, equivalent to the biggest rise we had there. We got that afterwards. We will get that at some point soon. 150 extended. Support coming up down here at 175. Shot to bits. Yeah, anything below 25 on any RSI. It doesn't matter what time frame you look at. If you want to go down to the 15-minute, if you see a 15-minute RSI extended to that level, leap on it. Absolutely leap on it. It's going up. You know it's going up. Just don't know when. So time your entry. That's what the indicator's for. When that shows a reversal alert, it means the bulls have stepped in. When the bulls have stepped in, everyone that's been doing that will go, the bulls have stepped in. I'm going to get out of my position. So when you get out of your position, you hit the buy button, you become a bull. More bulls, more movement up. Again, it's just how the market works. Pound Swiss. So that's nicely extended. And if it gets more extended, even better. Not far off the 25. Oh, we are below the 25. We've got 26 minutes on this candle, though. So this could all turn around any second now. Euro New Zealand. Same thing. Off to the moon. Some point, this is going to do a profit take. Worst case scenario. Best case scenario. Absolute best case scenario. One of them. And Euro Pound. Again, massive movement. So this Euro movement we've got at the moment, obviously I keep saying the Euro and the Swiss are very, obviously being in the same zone, they are very closely connected. And obviously we've got massive Swiss franc strength coming in at the moment, and that always will bolster the Euro. But you can tell which one's in control. Yeah, the Euro Swiss is collapsing. All the other Euros are going that way. Everything against the Swiss is going that way, and the Euro Swiss is collapsing. So you can tell that the Swiss franc is at the moment way more powerful than the Euro is, even though the Euro is powering up. Just how you can tell what is in control at the time. So at the moment, the Euro and the Swiss are being manipulated. Okay, so that's it. Any questions on anything? Covered quite a lot today. A lot of opportunities out there. So get into whatever you want to get into. Indices this morning. Let's just have a look at where we are. Dixie's just starting to pop its head down. Not really gone anywhere yet. We got this accumulation, which we've broken out of to potentially support us for the next leg up. If we break that back down below there today, I would be a little worried. which would show indecision in the market, which is a range consolidation. That's all that is indecision. And indices, nothing yet. Wants to, doesn't it? But again, same theory. You see where my TP is on this aggressive position I've taken is here under the Asian lows of yesterday. So again, I'm always looking for support resistance because that's what the market tends to do. So that is next potential resistance. We're either going to get the move start and we found the bottom, or we're going to continue on our downtrend, and in which case resistance is where we will potentially step in if we even get there. This market is a nightmare at the moment, so who knows. But that's basically what we're doing at the moment, going nowhere. And the NAS, same thing obviously as the S&P, we're going nowhere. The Dow, same thing. So nothing moving at the moment. London is scared, so we'll see what happens in New York. And as I say, earnings today, the only earnings we got today are Schlumberger. And Schlumberger are, if you don't know who Schlumberger are, they are, no reason why you would, but they are a big oil and gas supplier. So they provide lots of service and infrastructure. Oh, there you go. Company profile is the world's largest supplier of products and services to the oil and gas industry. There you go. So not in the tech sector, so not going to have any impact on the NAS today. And it's pre-market open anyway. So the moves, obviously, whatever's going to happen with that will probably happen. And not have a big impact. It's a ripple, basically. It's one stock in 500. So, okay, so that's it for today. Anything you need, let me know. Come into the Telegram group. I'm always in there. I'll be in there today. Back at 2 o'clock this afternoon, and we'll see if we can get some movement to the upside and keep it on these indices. All we're looking for is it's Dow as well. Look, the Dow. We're back at that 200 on the Dow. Pronounced with a soft G, Peter says. Schlumber. Is that what you mean? So it's not Schlumberger. Schlumber. Do you know what? I don't think I've ever heard anybody say that word. So I'm probably the same as most people with words. If you haven't heard somebody say it, you don't know how it's pronounced. You pronounce it as it's spelt. And it's spelt Schlumberger, as far as I'm concerned. It's a burger that you eat in the schlums. Yeah, Schlumber. God, the amount of words I used to pronounce wrong when I was a kid. What was it? The other one I was telling my kids about it the other day. Oh yeah, pavilion. I'd never heard anybody say the word pavilion, and where I live, we've got a theatre called the Pavilion. So when I first saw the word, I was like, "Oh, pavilion," and I called it the pavilion. And I called it the pavilion for many years, and my mum kept correcting me, but pavilion stuck in my head. So it is a pavilion. For those uneducated that do not know. There you go, you learned something. Schlumber, French. Yeah, Peter's given us lessons in linguistics. Not my strongest point. So if I pronounce things wrong, you feel free to correct me, because I most likely are. Right, so yeah, hopefully we get some decent movement. As I say, we're looking for an up day, and we're looking for an up day that's going to hold. We haven't had on any of these indices. We've literally just had beautiful moves, lovely volatility, lots of profit-taking opportunities, but no bullish holds. So the next bullish hold we get could well be what takes control, and we get that movement back up. Even if we don't come up and make new highs, at least we'll get some movement up, and that's all I'm looking for. As I say, one up day, always after one up day, one ADR up day. Former oil field guy there, Pete. Yeah, that's how GPS speaks. John says, yeah, God, my GPS really struggles with some of the words of the roads around. I mean, all GPSs do, I guess, don't they? It's very funny. But anyway, right, 200 New Zealand dollar Swiss, just before we go. New Zealand dollar Swiss, 200 ADR. Boom. Euro Swiss must still be coming down. Boom. Watch out for these Swissies today. Just be a little bit careful. There you go, John and Peter. You two can have a chat in Telegram about oil fields, oil field guys reuniting. So yeah, watch out for these Swissies. We've obviously got a massive push on the Swiss franc. Again, this is a really good example of what I keep going on about with the Swissy and why I don't pay any attention to the COT report for the Swiss franc. It doesn't matter what that says. When the Swissy wants to go, the Swissy will go. So you don't get in the way of the Swissy. So just be careful. If the safest play on the Swissy is to take 15-minute reversals. If you want to get aggressive, take an M5 by all means. But if that M5 doesn't hold, then switch to M15. Because if this could do it to 150, 200% ADR move, and it can do it for a few days on the trot when it wants to. So just be a little careful of the Swissy. But they're lovely trades when they play out because, as I say, they're normally V-shaped recoveries or A-shaped recoveries, depending whether it's been weak or strong. So looking nice. Holding that Euro Swiss. Just really wish I'd have held the Euro Swiss from when I started to scale into it. But you never do you? Okay, so that's it for me this morning. Back at 2 o'clock. Anything you need, come in the Telegram group. If you like the stream, give me a thumbs up. And hopefully see you this afternoon at 2 o'clock and see what we can get out of this New York session later on. Have a good morning, guys, and I'll see you later.